So can you please state your name and your position here at Wayside Christian Mission?
Yes, I am Chaplain Michael Blunk, and I've been here for 5 years now. Besides being the chaplain, I also teach. I am our staff writer, and I maintain our websites. And so I'm also, I work in the area of development, helping to raise money for the mission too.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then what does Wayside Christian Mission do, and who do you primarily help?
Wayside Christian Mission is the area's oldest and largest rescue mission. We were founded back in 1957 by a student only 22 years old named Richard Anderson. At that time, Louisville was the largest city that did not have a rescue mission. Today, we serve a population of around 600, 650 homeless women, men, and children. We're not a day shelter. Our clients live with us. There are some day shelters that will open a few hours a day. Gives homeless people a place to go, they sit, play cards, drink coffee. But we're not a day shelter.
Mm-hmm.
We are a homeless shelter, so our clients live with us. We have 2 locations, and so we serve, we're the oldest and we are the largest. Besides the feeding and clothing and housing 600 plus people, we offer a number of innovative programs as well, which I'll tell you about a little later on.
Okay. And then what services do you provide?
Well, we provide a host of services. Obviously, we want to meet our resident clients' most pressing needs, which is to get off the streets, someplace to sleep that's safe, clothing, and food. And those are important. In fact, we serve between 2,000 and 2,500 meals every day. At the end of the year, we will serve around 750,000 breakfast, lunches, and dinners. So that's a big part of what we do. However, those services do not address the problems of homelessness. So we provide a number of services such as drug and alcohol addiction recovery, vocational training, life skills training. We have on-site case management, counseling. And so we offer a number of services that go after the root causes of homelessness. We're not just a warehouse that exists, that we fill it up with homeless people and they stay here. Our goal is to get them back out into the community as productive, sober, self-supporting individuals who can not only take care of themselves, but then they can take care of their children and contribute to the betterment of society. So we're not just a warehouse for homeless people to hang out. They come here and they get involved in a program, and we seek to help them work through those problems that brought them here in the first place. Sometimes it's just simply a matter of not having enough money. We had a young lady here who, a single mom with child, she always said that she was one paycheck away from being homeless. And when she missed a paycheck, she couldn't pay her rent. She came here, her problem was not drugs or alcohol. Actually a very good mother, a very nice person. She was underemployed. She eventually came on staff, was an employee here. She met a gentleman, they got married, and she's moved to another city. So some of our clients come here because of drug addiction. That's a big part of what we deal with. But some people, it could be divorce, domestic violence, unemployment, underemployment. So there's a whole host of problems, and we try to tackle those problems head on so that that individual can leave here and hopefully never come back.
All right. What is the most difficult part of your job?
The most difficult part of my job is dealing with my own, sometimes bad attitude, dealing with my own assumptions, um, my own personal concerns. I can be my biggest problem, but that's probably not what you're looking for. One of our biggest challenges is dealing with a large population, which we have, again, over 600 people. We have a relatively small staff. We have less than 50 employees. So most of us here do a number of jobs. I'm the missions chaplain, so you would expect me to do pastoral counseling and Bible teaching. Also maintain our websites. I'm our staff writer. I do our graphics. I do I teach. We all pitch in and do a number of things. Nobody, or very few people here have just one job. And so that can be a challenge, but also too, it keeps life from being dull and routine. You don't know what the day will bring. So I always tell people my biggest problem is just probably me. Yeah. And if I focus on the clients rather than my own agenda, then I do well. But when I start looking at, gee, I worked a whole lot of hours this week, or I haven't had air conditioning in my office for 4 years, or I haven't had heat in my office if I start thinking about things like that, then that's when I start causing problems for me. So I'm sure that's not the answer you're looking for, but I also believe in honesty.
Yeah.
I'm my biggest problem.
And what do you feel is the least understood thing about the people you serve or about Wayside?
Well, most of us, when we think of a homeless person, we think of a grizzled old man sleeping in an abandoned warehouse or on a park bench, urinating in public, drinking cheap wine out of a brown paper sack. You'll find that a lot of our clients are very intelligent people. Something went wrong. Some do not have a good support system. I grew up in a fairly comfortable, well-to-do home. If I had money problems, I had parents that I could turn to. Not everybody has that. And so a lot of our clients just simply did not have a good support system. To try to lump all homeless people in one category is a mistake. Just like saying all high school students are like, you can't do that. I have lived here at this hotel, serves also as a shelter, primarily for women and children. And I sold my house. I've lived here for 5 years. There are a number of us that live here. So they have become my neighbors. And my preconceived ideas about homeless people changed after I came here. So I think maybe taking the time and putting a face to homelessness instead of calling them those people, or thinking about, a stereotypical down and out wino. Yeah, there are people like that. We see them out on the streets. But here I have homeless people who are attending college classes. They're going to parenting classes that are working steps in order to live free of drugs and alcohol. Going to classes to teach them life skills and vocational training. Helping each other. Learning to deal with life without drugs and alcohol. And so a lot of them are very hardworking, resourceful individuals. So I would think that the stereotypical image of homelessness just doesn't bear out when you look at the population here. I think another thing that, as far as how we are often misunderstood, Um, I don't get too many letters from the general public. Most of those would go to our CEO. But there was one week where I received 2 pieces of email, basically angry, and both were saying about the same thing. We present our tax dollars supporting those lazy people. We are not supported by tax dollars. We're a donor-supported mission. Less than 3% of our operating cost, or less than 3% of our general operating budget comes from tax dollars. We're a donor-supported mission. So, and our clients are not lazy. They're not sitting around doing nothing. They're attending classes. They're working hard. So, I think we're providing a very valuable service, not to just homeless people, but to the community at large. Bear in mind, the 650 people under our 2 roofs are not roaming around the streets. They're not hanging out in abandoned buildings. They're not urinating in public places. They're here. And so, if we closed our doors, you would have quite a legion of people out there with no place to go. And perhaps with no place to go without resources, they would perhaps resort to go back to their old ways, maybe steal in order to feed themselves. They would do desperate things. So I like to think that we are providing a service to the community, as well as a service to the women and men here. One of the nicest things that ever happened was I had a young lady in my office. Her mother had gone through the program, hired by a hospital, and mom brought her daughter in here just to kind of come and visit. And I asked the girl, she was about your age, I said, tell me about your mom. She said, well, she's doing great. She has a job at a hospital. They love her. She loves her job. She said, but the best thing is that without drugs and alcohol, my mom is a mom once again. She's caring for her family once again. So I said, well, if you could say something to the people who support our work with their prayers and their volunteer efforts and with their finances, what would you say? I would say, thank you for giving me my mom back. And I like to think that's what we do. We give kids like you their parents back. We give people a second chance or a third chance or a fourth chance in life. I had a lady come to my office one day showing me an acceptance letter from the University of Louisville. And she held up the letter and she said, I'm going back to college. We have a number of people in our college and career program. She said, heroin stole my dreams. Now that I'm free of heroin, I can start dreaming again. And I like that. And I think that sums up a good bit of what we do.
Yeah.
And we're a Christian mission. You do not have to be a Christian to receive our services. But that is who we are. And people like me, I'm here because I want to serve others in the name of Jesus Christ. It's tough for young people because sometimes you see the media that is critical toward Christians, critical toward people of faith. They can be very cruel and very biting. You seldom see a TV show or a movie that portrays Christianity in a positive light. But I'll throw this at you and your students. I don't see atheists opening up shelters like this. Again, we serve 2,000 to 2,500 meals a day. It's a lot. That's a lot of food. And we do this, you don't have to be a Christian. But this organization was founded by a Christian seminarian. And that was his calling from God. And I think that's pretty amazing. And we are, Christian is our middle name, Wayside Christian Mission. That's who we are. And I think it's important. Most of the great learning institutions in this country, the older schools like Yale and Harvard, were founded by women and men of faith. Think of how many hospitals that begin with Saint something or another.
Yeah.
You attend a parochial school, the Catholic Church has long had a reputation of caring for the needy, the marginalized. And so we really don't need to be ashamed of our faith. It's who we are. are. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah. So what do you think might help people better understand this?
Well, we understand by asking questions, investigating, knowing. I tell people, if you have questions about what we do, visit our website, waysidechristianmission.org. We also operate this hotel, which is unique in America. This is a 12-story downtown hotel. It's a fully functioning hotel. We have banquets and wedding receptions and family reunions. We have a coffee shop, a cafe. But this hotel is operated by the mission and staffed almost exclusively by women and men who are either in our program or who graduated from our program. So this is a training facility. So if you don't want to learn more about what we're doing at Hotel Louisville, which is part of Wayside Christian Mission, go to the website, which is hotellouisville.org. Very interesting project we have here. It's very interesting enterprise in that this is a fully functioning hotel. We have travelers and tourists who come in here for lodging, just like when this was a Holiday Inn. But we also have certain floors that are earmarked for homeless women and children. And so I'm not aware of any other enterprise like this in the United States, and it's worked. We've been doing this since 2009, and I'm waiting for other cities to replicate what we've done here. This hotel has provided not only a lot of people with a place to live, but it has been a training facility teaching them marketable job skills. So I'm going to leave here. In fact, about an hour before you came here, one of my clients told me she was just hired by a company. Part of that is because of the training that she got here. So we're really excited about that. Yeah, we want to put people back out. We don't want them to be dependent on us. You know, there are types of charity that can actually be toxic. I think the government has been guilty of that. I think very often the churches have been guilty of that. But we're not asking people, our clients, we're not giving them handouts. We're giving them a hand up. And for the people who lost their way, we're helping them find their way back. That's what we're doing.
Awesome. And then why do you think this particular injustice continues to happen in our world?
Well, that's a question that you could probably write a dozen books about. We live in a fallen world. Part of it is greed. I have read of third world nations where people starving and corrupt governments not allowing food in unless the officials were bribed. I know of an agency here in Louisville that sends valuable medical equipment to third world countries, and she said that sometimes they have trouble getting that equipment in, equipment that will help keep their people alive. And the people, the low-level government officials want a bribe to let that equipment in that would keep their neighbors and their friends and their family alive. So there is greed, there is corruption, and in the case that we have a lot of children here, well, they're here through no fault of their own. Some people here are due to bad decision making. I mean, nobody becomes a drug addict and finds that it improves the quality of their life. I'm 62 years old. I've never had anybody say, Chaplain Mike, once I discovered heroin, my life just turned around and it got so much better. My wife thinks I'm awesome. My kids say, Dad, now that you're on heroin, you're such a good dad. My employer thinks I'm great. No. Never met anybody that could say that. So some of our problems are self-inflicted. We hurt ourselves. We make bad decisions. Getting involved in drugs is one of the worst things that we can do. But I've also learned this. It's easier to criticize somebody than it is to help them. And I can criticize people all day long for the dumb decisions they've made. I've made plenty of dumb mistakes too. It just didn't land me in a homeless shelter. So there are a lot of reasons: drugs, alcohol, domestic violence, divorce, laziness, circumstances beyond people's control, unemployment, underemployment, bad economy. There's a host of reasons why a person might find themselves homeless. Let's look for ways of solving that. And we can get really lofty and maybe start pointing a lot of fingers or whatever. But if we can help people take responsibility for their own lives and make their own decisions, I think we do them a real service.
What are some factors that contribute to this happening?
Well, I think we've covered a good bit of it, everything from domestic violence to drug addiction.
Yeah.
And again, sometimes it's just a matter of economics, sometimes it's a matter of not having any family support. Or many of us, people like me, I had a family behind me if I got in trouble. Some of the people here, family behind them. So that's one of the reasons we don't want to get too judgmental.
Yeah.
You know, there by the grace of God go I.
And then I have one more, and it's, who do you feel has the power to change this situation?
Well, I mean, one of the reasons that I'm a Christian is I believe that Jesus Christ has the power to change lives. We can make superficial improvements in ourselves, but if I did not believe that Jesus, I mean, I have to believe that Jesus is still in the business of mending broken lives. I mean, if he wasn't, this job doesn't pay enough and I work too many hours, I'll go do something else. But I happen to know that it is true that he is the one. So I don't want to, you know, we have a man's history of about 5,000 years. There's a history of wars and famine and all sorts of terrible things. For 5,000 years, this world has not been able to live in peace. For 5,000 years, stronger people have taken advantage of weaker people. We are not, one of the reasons that I reject secularism is that there's no proof that we can solve our own problems. And so I'm going to give God the credit. You know, he can fix things. If I didn't believe that, I would not be here. And I have seen him work in the lives of people. And so, but with that said, we also, he made us as free moral agents. And so you and I can make decisions that will help ourselves and help others too. If you don't go to school, if you make poor grades, you will suffer. And there might be some government programs that will keep you from starving, but you'll forever live at the bottom of the social rung. And so we want to help our clients take control over their lives. One of the ways that we teach women and men who are bound by addiction, drug and alcohol, is to not blame other people, but to take responsibility for their own sobriety. And when they do that, then they learn to live without that. So we have to take certain responsibilities on our own, but then let's also rely on the power of God, who's still in the business of fixing broken lives. And I've seen it, so, and the Bible declares it. So we want to say that without being embarrassed or ashamed.
Yeah. And then another part of the assignment was to have a video tour of the place of the service. And when I had contacted Mr. Gainey, he had told me that it would have to go through your CEO in order to do that.
Well, we can walk around here.
Okay.
Maybe not a whole lot going on, but I'll show you
Yeah.
a little bit. Come on in here.
right.
This Saturday night, we're going to have a dance in this ballroom. I think I can get us in here.
All right.
Maybe not. I wouldn't. You don't necessarily have to keep it running. You might stop it until I get it open.
Okay.
I think I can get it open through here. Hold on. Hey, what's going on, Chad? Through there and open that door up for her. You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay. Feeling pretty good. Come on in.
All right. Well,
You
this
fired
is
up?
pretty. Yes, sir.
All right, well, this is the grand ballroom. Make sure you get a picture of the disco ball because we have a dance scheduled for tomorrow evening. This hotel is home to over 300 events every year. Weddings, wedding receptions, family reunions, corporate meetings, baby showers, get-togethers, formal dinners, pastor appreciation meals. We even had the city to book the entire hotel for an economic conference. And so what's interesting is since we're a nonprofit organization, our pricing is substantially cheaper than any other downtown hotel. Our catering is cheaper. And the food is good. We have very nice rooms. Hopefully this will be full tomorrow. I'll show you another one.
Okay. Thank you.
We won't, oh, I can show you all, I got a few up there, but if you want, I'll show you the, what you fired up here. This is, you got it on again? I'll tell you about the mezzanine.
Okay, I can.
Sure.
All right.
Well, this is the second floor mezzanine. We have two ballrooms, Ballroom A and Ballroom B. And either side will accommodate over 100 guests, but if you remove the partition, we can actually handle a dinner for as many as 350 people. We have some breakout rooms over here, conference rooms, classrooms, where our offices are down this way over here. So we'll have a number of events here. Sometimes they will set up tables and booths out here in the mezzanine as well. So this is a very busy hotel. Again, over 300 events a year.
Yeah.
By the way, we've had some famous people here. Of course, this will be before your time, but we are to understand that the Rolling Stones back in the 60s stayed here. Herman's Hermits, these are groups that you've probably never heard of before. Johnny Cash.
I heard of them before.
Okay, well, Johnny Cash stayed here. And so this has been around for about 50 years. It's a 12-story hotel. It used to be Holiday Inn. And so it still has, I don't know, it still has that sort of a, kind of a dated charm to it or whatever. It's, we're a little bit more traditional, you know, with the you know, the drapery and the chandeliers. But it's a nice place. Let me tell you, we have a coffee shop. I'll take you down there.
Okay.
If you want to get a picture, just a shot over here at our front desk. Our front desk people are typically women and men who have gone through our program or who are currently in the program. And the hospitality trade, employment opportunities are very good. Now, can't really tell much about the cafe now, it's closed. But we're a downtown hotel. We do a large lunch business, and we don't do much of that evening business. So we'll get a shot of this. We'll don't want to film anybody, but
Yeah.
But the cafe does a booming luncheon business. We have a $5 buffet. So for the price of basically a fast food meal, you come here and have a nice sit-down dinner, and the food is genuinely good. I'll introduce you to Virginia Taylor. You can film her. They wrote a novel on there, didn't they? I used to attend when I lived in London. This is Virginia Taylor.
I'm
She's a
good.
student with Holy Cross out on Dixie Highway. Miss V lives out off Dixie Highway. It's okay, you can take a picture of her. She's nice.
Okay.
Virginia Taylor heads our drug and alcohol recovery program. Right now, how many clients would you think men and women both? We're over 100.
Yeah, we
right?
got over 100. Probably about 110.
What we have is a 6 to 9 month program.
About 6 to 9 months program. Phase 1 of the program. Phase 2 can go anywhere from a year up to about 15 months.
And how long have you been teaching sobriety?
Probably about 24 years.
And the Mayor Fisher, declared July 26th Virginia Taylor Day, and she's the only person I know personally who has a day named after her in
He
Louisville.
wrote my,
I wrote the
he
proclamation,
wrote-
but the
it's
mayor
all this
signed
one.
it.
I had to pay him. He blacked me.
Oh, okay. Well,
Well, he did though. But yeah, it's all right.
it's pretty neat, isn't it? You know,
is neat.
I don't know anybody else that's had a day named after them in Louisville. And so she's like the mom to the women here, and then she has people helping her, and then she has a couple of people that, well, you have one supervisor, what, in the men's program too, or?
I got two. Well, John.
That's right, yeah.
John Wilson's over the news book.
And then, well, then what's Lorraine?
She's they work together. John is.
Oh, John's actually the one.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought Lorraine was.
Well,